Redesigning the main 6-part 6. From a young age, Twilight was always hard on herself to be perfect. She took pride in being the smartest in her class, and studied non-stop. She often shut out other ponies in favor of making sure everything in her academic life was perfect. She was purposefully rude to keep others away, and barely took care of herself out of the bare minimum. This only got worse when she was given the chance to enter Celestia's school for gifted unicorns. With the entrance exam coming soon, Twilight wanted to look her best, and this included having her cutie mark. Because of this, she couldn't fully focus when the time came. And it took Celestia telling her she needed to forget about being perfect, and actually think of what about magic actually made her happy. With this, she calmed down enough to perform and enjoy herself while doing it. She was still a shut-in, but remembered to enjoy what she did.
I decided I'm giving Twilight and Rarity more traditional unicorn designs. Twilight Sparkle grew up utterly fascinated with astronomy, and always had a passion for using her magic to further her studies in space exploration. Under Princess Celestia, Twilight used her abnormal power levels to advance in her studies, and was kept under close watch by the Royal Guard to ensure she wasn't using illegal magic techniques. Celestia knew that whether she accepted Twilight or not, she would eventually usurp the throne and become more powerful than her. She reluctantly took her under her wing and guided her to be a successful ruler for the future of Equestria.
My Twilight Sparkle Redesign Part 1. I didn't want to change her too much, but I really wanted to push her whole Magicky Wizardy vibe more. In my version, the 5 stars on her cutie mark appeared as she met her friends and are colored accordingly. She is much darker and visually more celestial, as she was actually born with a piece of Luna's then Nightmare Moon magic inside of her. Because of this, she has limited dream-walking capabilities. Nightmare Moon saw the prophecy of Twilight becoming the most powerful princess, therefore imbued her bloodline with her magic before she was defeated, hoping she would turn to the dark side and carry her legacy. See more in Part 2.
In my Oshi is related to Sombra, the first Alekon to ever exist, not that she is aware, but Celestia Her parents are very absent, focused on trying to climb to the top of the social ladder, so her older brother Shining Armor is very protective. She was a very sick filly, and so she wasn't able to leave the house very often. She threw herself into her studies, and Celestia took her under her wing. Keep your enemies close.
Twilight was never my favorite, but I had fun designing her. I feel like she'd be more messy and organized than she is. More like a more introverted librarian. I decided to make a Twilight Sparkle redesign. She's one of my highest kins. Her colors were always weird to me in the show. She didn't have that Twilight time of day aesthetic. I personally headcanon them as non-binary, using they as she pronouns. I also HC them as bisexual, aromantic. I think a lot of people misunderstand Twilight and how they think, react, and handle situations. It reminds me of how people in my life misunderstand me, and how hurtful and confusing it is. Hopefully you guys enjoy this design. Let me know your pony HCS.
Twilight Sparkle is still from Compilation. She wasn't very interested in studying or making friends while growing up. It wasn't until Celestia announced that she would be taking one student under her wing in a year. The most hardworking filly would win. Twilight's parents pushed her to study more, as to get her in with the princess. Twilight obliged. She began studying seriously. As she did so, she discovered that she loved to learn and read. A year later and she's gone from insecure and lazy to confident and hardworking. She's sassy. Twilight was chosen to work with the princess. For a few years, she was a recluse. The only pony she talked to was Celestia. Obviously, the princess noticed how bad this was and has sent her to Ponyville.
But I wasn't prepared for this. Will I fail or will I pass? I can't be sure. She can't be sure. My mind is sharp, my skills intact, my heart.
Empress Twilight Sparkle. Redesign and AU lore. After the end of the Third Dragon War, civil unrest began to rise among the equestrian citizens. Many began to doubt Celestia's capabilities. After all, she was the cause of so many of their problems. While nobles lived their lives of luxury, the common folk suffered. For this, the citizens began turning to the Lunar Dynasty. Soon division turned to conflict. Celestia found few would remain loyal to a tyrant, so she sent Cadence and Blueblood to the Crystal Empire. From there, civil war began. Twilight led her ponies throughout Equestria to the footsteps of Canterlot Castle. From there, Luna and Celestia began their own battle. In the end, Luna sacrificed herself to end Celestia, making Twilight the last equestrian alicorn.
My Twilight Sparkle Elements of Disharmony O Redesign. As a filly, Twilight held a passion for magic, opening her up the opportunity of attending Celestia's magic school. She stole the Alicorn amulet for her entrance exam, expecting a magic boost. Instead, it latched onto her, giving her the Alicorn markings on her ears, hooves, etc. Yet she still passed, earning Spike, her new companion, and her cutie marked the Alicorn amulet without the wings. She studied in isolation for a long time, until she was sent to Ponyville, where she met the others in the main six. Twilight eventually represented the element of dark magic, using her magic only for her own benefits or to bring down others. She earned her wings and her role as Princess of Hostility after she defeated Princess Celestia in a duel. Twilight hated her princess hair, cut off a part of it, but it never grew back the same. Nightmare Moon rolls as head princess, having never been defeated until Twilight is old enough to roll.
For this redesign, he is FTM transgender and goes by Orion. His family had a tradition where they are named after planets, constellations and stars. He uses a spell to make himself look more male, and he couldn't be happier.
My Little Pony Redesign Part 4 Twilight Sparkle. Twilight was raised in Canterlot by very strict parents with high expectations for her. When she became Celestia's student, her parents were ecstatic, so she paid extra attention towards her studies to keep her place. Celestia saw a lot of Luna in the unicorn, so she decided that Twilight would be an excellent vessel for Luna's magic. Celestia told Twilight what she wished to do, and Twilight agreed. She was sent to Ponyville and made friends, but was still nervous about her part. Twilight recited a spell that would absorb any of Luna's magic into herself when she faced off against Nightmare Moon. It freed Luna, but it didn't transform her immediately into an alicorn, which made her feel like a failure. The magic was dormant, however, and activated from the Cutie Mark swap incident.
My Twilight redesign.
I always wanted my own brother.
In this cube, Twilight's father is a royal guard under Celestia, and her mother is a royal fashion assistant. Due to their demanding jobs, Twilight was left with a sitter quite often. She was also homeschooled and taught nearly all of it to herself. Because of this, she didn't make any friends growing up and grew to be a loner. She was distant and was entirely devoted to her studies, especially after becoming Celestia's student. Though, after meeting the group in Ponyville, she grew to enjoy other ponies. She still struggles with social anxiety and needs her space, but is also an amazing princess.
Twilight looks much more like her parents in this redesign. She looks more like her canon counterpart once she receives her wings. She's supposed to look like a Galaxy 3.
Twilight Sparkle was born into an extremely rich and powerful family in Canterlot. Her parents are actually very distant cousins of Princess Celestia, and are the Grand Duke and Duchess of Canterlot respectively. This allowed Twilight many privileges growing up, such as being a close student of Celestia. It was believed she could take up the rule from Celestia. Afraid it could happen, Celestia made a risky move and made her Duchess of Ponyville, far away from home. Twilight was appointed just as Nightmare Moon appeared, leaving the problem in her hooves. She handled it so skillfully that she only gained more popularity and love.
Can I say it? Just once?
Only if you wish to suffer.
Get over here!
Twilight Sparkle has only recently become the official true ruler of Equestria. After Luna steps down and losing her friends due to old age, she has become a bit jaded. Hearing the forbidden knowledge has only caused her more stress, as even for an alicorn, it is overwhelming, especially paired with the fact that Flirtyheart has become a spoiled brat. She finally starts to break when she realizes somebody else knows the secrets of alicorns.
Twilight Sparkle redesign.
I always wanted my own brother.
Twilight grew up in
And then he
Canterlot.
showed a better
She had
card.
not gotten her cutie mark when other ponies her age started to get theirs. She worked hard and studied rather than socializing to make up for her lack of a cutie mark. Her hard work paid off and she began an apprenticeship under Celestia.
I watched him grow
Her
into
studying
a
consumed
stallion.
her and she ended up as a recluse. Ponies avoided her due to her ego, and Celestia became increasingly worried for her social skills. Celestia knew that she was educated enough to become an alicorn, but she did not yet have a cutie mark.
But now that every
Celestia decided to send her to Ponyville in hopes that it would help her become more social and get her cutie mark. Twilight was granted temporary wings for the time
the world
being.
in my control.
She used her wings to cover her lack of a cutie mark. While in Ponyville, she met some unique ponies who helped her grow and learn, and eventually earn her cutie mark.
The other woman.
Twilight's parents were chosen to produce a strong pupil for Celestia to raise as her own. A bit reluctantly, her parents gave up their second child to the Sun Princess, hoping they might meet her again when she was older. Celestia had put a lot of focus on Twilight studies, but was often too busy to help, so Luna is the one who truly raised her. Twilight had never wanted to be a princess, she wanted to be a professor, but she never had a choice.
Well, I can see the food situation. Well, I'm just here to check the decoration. Well, I'm here to supervise the preparations for the summer sun celebration. Sorry, we have an awful lot to do. I always wanted my own brother, and then he showed up at our door. I didn't question where he came from. I wasn't lonely anymore. Soon we did everything together.
My Twilight redesign, Twi was bred to be the perfect replacement for Luna. She was the first attempt to a born alicorn. Sadly, it didn't work. She was born without a horn and a wing too small, but she was still strangely powerful. She was taken from her parents at age 7 to live in the castle and learn, being taught by Celestia. In an attempt to give her an artificial cutie mark, her flank and leg were terribly damaged and her tail was burned off. She's extremely introverted. Having grown up in isolation, the only pony she's ever really met are Celestia, who is very cold towards her, and a few guards and royal nurse. She is encouraged by a pony in her dreams to sneak out of the castle and into the Dark Grove Mountains. She does this and meets someone very unexpected. Should I do Celestia or Luna next?
Here's my take on Twilight Sparkle. She was raised to be very regal due to being born in Canterlot. She has bad eyesight, hence the large glasses. Her parents tease her and say it's because she reads so much as if Philly tired her eyes out. Unicorns are naturally very tall and lean, with long legs.
Twilight grew up in Canterlot with her older brother and her parents. At a young age, she was taught that if you were smarter than most ponies, you were better than them. She was chosen by Princess Celestia to become her personal student. That only fueled her ego. When she moved to Ponyville, she only became prettier. She was humbled once she met the rest of the 6. Twilight can still be rude sometimes, but she doesn't really mean it. She's trying to get better, as she's realized she's hurt people before. She still loves to read and learn, but she can be extremely selfish at times. When Celestia rewarded her hard work with wings, Twilight was ecstatic. That sent her back to being rude and cold, even to her friends. If she continues down this path, Celestia will take away Twilight's wings. Twilight Sparkle is an alicorn-born unicorn who grew up in Canterlot. When she was a filly, her parents realized she had a natural talent for magic and enrolled her in Princess Celestia's school for gifted unicorns. There she would earn her cutie mark and a close companion, a Spike. In the entrance exam, which she did not expect, she had to hatch a baby dragon from an egg, but wasn't able to do so. All of a sudden, an explosion occurred outside, and she was unable to control the magic, which escaped her horn. The magic then made her able to hatch the egg, but it also gave her some physical side effects that Princess Celestia wasn't able to reverse, those being a bigger and curved horn similar to an alicorn's, and it made her taller as well. After seeing this, the princess quickly welcomed her to the school and also offered to be her mentor, which Twilight happily accepted. While Twilight was celebrating, the princess pointed out how she had earned her cutie mark. After this, Twilight would go on to become one of the most powerful alicorns and a future princess. Along the way, she would defeat villains and help her friends and make new ones along the way. She would also end up becoming a mentor and idol to many.
My Twilight Sparkle redesign. I made her mane as a unicorn choppier and messier, and her cutie mark no longer has the stars for her friends until she moves to Ponyville and meets them. After she becomes an alicorn, she changes a lot. She gets taller, and her hair gets longer, and more like Luna and Celestia. She has the stars in her cutie mark back, now with a burst of stars scattered all over her hind legs. Twilight Haze, my Twilight Sparkle redesign. Like the original Twilight, she's originally from Canterlot. When she lived there, she was actually really into fashion. She was a bully to basically every bunny, but she was always lonely. Her magic was strong, but she had little respect for anyone. Not even her parents could tame her. Like for part 2.
Twilight was a unicorn that grew up in Canterlot in a wealthy family. For most of her fillyhood, she studied to enter Empress Celestia's School of Magic. In her entrance exam, she was assigned to transform a baby dragon into a pony. Twi struggled due to anxiety, and luckily only succeeded due to a sonic rain boom. Empress Celestia, seeing the power Twi displayed, took her in as her apprentice and taught Twi magic that the alicorn race had been practicing for many millennia. Twi eventually became the most powerful unicorn in Equestria, able to move the sun and moon and to wield very sacred and ancient powers. Empress Celestia sent Twi to Ponyville, as she was paranoid of a rebellion. Twi was made mayor and manages the village. Little does she realize that the Empress has more plans in store.
Redesigning future Princess Twilight Sparkle. I despise her future design. First of all, how does she end up as big as Princess Celestia, who is over 1,000 years old in a span of 15 years? I decided to use the body of Cadence for her redesign. The fact that she was bigger than Luna, who is also few centuries old, bothers me. Even if she was that big, what the FOK is going on with her hair? Why does she have emo bangs? Her BFF is Rarity. No way she would let Twilight walk around like that.
Twilight, a unicorn-born alicorn, was a hermit that would only study. As she grew older, her cutie mark developed further down her leg, something not seen before. After using dark magic in the Crystal Empire, her horn developed a dark color to it, causing her to get headaches from time to time. She gained her wings after completing a spell, but she is only able to use alicorn low-level magic if she is around her friends. Twilight, a unicorn-born alicorn, was a hermit that would only study. As she grew older, her cutie mark developed further down her leg, something not seen before. After using dark magic in the Crystal Empire, her horn developed a dark color to it, causing her to get headaches from time to time. She gained her wings after completing a spell, but she is only able to use alicorn level magic if she is around her friends.
Twilight Sparkle redesign. I made her coat be a light purple with even lighter purple patterns over it. Her cutie mark is now a 5-point star, with 5 sparkles in between the corners. They changed to the colors of her friends around the 2nd episode of the series. She also has glasses now lol. I just thought that was cute. Fluttershy next.
Redoing my old redesigns part 1. Princess Twilight Sparkle is the daughter of Queen Celestia. The Storm King took their kingdom when she was a filly, and she was adopted by her godmother Twilight Velvet. She's been in hiding since, and wears a scarf to hide her left of the king's mark.
Redesigning the main 6 based on notes I made while high. Disclaimer, I'm showing the notes at the end, don't read them if you're sensitive to character bashing. Here's my version of Twi. I kept her mostly the same and just added a bit of hair texture from her G1 design. She was created by Celestia in Luna's image after she banished her, needing someone to fill the void that Luna once filled. Because of her origins, she grew up very sheltered, hence her lackluster social skills, and only got more freedom once she'd reformed Luna. Her childhood is also the reason she never feels good enough, and overcompensates by trying to overachieve. Her cutie mark represents how she brought the royal sisters back together, with the friendship constellation connecting the moon and the sun. After she brought the two together, she felt that she wasn't needed anymore and focused more on her princess duties and on her other friends. I wish I had more time to go into depth, but these are chibi and done in an hour.
I used Cadence's base to draw her. I just wanted her to be bigger than a normal pony, since she is a princess.
Preparations for the summer sun celebration. Sorry.